So what Morgan's experiment was about, he used the fruit flies, and the fruit fly which he used, now please pay attention that here we are using small y small w and small y and small w, but we have put a plus over here. So the method of representation in experiments was quite different compared to Mendel's method. Mendel used capital T and small t, and he used capital for the dominant one, and the same symbol, same alphabet but in the smaller form was used for the recessive one. Now what Morgan did was, he chose the symbols of the recessive form. So yellow body is recessive in the case of fruit fly, and brown body is dominant over the yellow body. So this feature is dominant, this feature is recessive, but he chose the symbols from the recessive form. So recessive form symbol is this. Now when you put a plus there, plus represents the dominant form, and it also represents the wild form. Wild form means which is more commonly visible in the generations, and mutant is something which is found out of every 2000 or 1000 or 3000, 1 or 2 or 3 individuals will be there. Those would be called as mutant types. Now here W again represents the mutant type. W represents the white eyes, and W plus represents the red eyes. So fruit flies, if you have ever seen, they hover around these days around your ripe banana and all. So these are some very small flies, somewhere around 2 millimeter in the length, and their eyes are generally red in color and body would be brown colored. So he performed a cross between the female individual and the male individual. So what I was talking about was that out of every 1000 or 2000 individuals born in experiments, he found sometime there used to be white-eyed and sometime there used to be yellow-bodied type of individuals also. So what he did, he took the mutant type of female and crossed with the wild type of male. So mutant type will be what? Yellow-bodied and white-eyed, and the wild type of the male will be what? The brown-bodied and the red-eyed. So when this cross was performed, after crossing in the next generation, what he expected, what he found was, after this cross was done, he found in the F1 generation, all the females have become normal. That normal means wild type. So all the females have become brown-bodied and red-eyed, and all the males have become now the mutant type. So he was surprised to find that why all the females have become normal and all the males have become again the mutant type. So he performed the next cross also, and he found something very surprising there. Remember, just wait for some time because I'll be explaining you how his results were different, how he came to know that the genes are present on the X chromosome, because he performed reciprocal cross also, and that there is the reason how he understood that these genes are present on the X chromosome. So once he performed these cross, now pay attention that he had already understood that these genes are present on X chromosome, and we know that Drosophila sex determination, just like in the case of human, XX represents the female and XY represents the male. So similar symbols are used here by me. XX and XY is mentioned here because these two chromosomes are similar. Y chromosome is different in shape. You can check in the NCERT also, similar shape is used. So homozygous female was mutant type was crossed with the hemizygous wild. So in the last class I told you what is hemizygous. Hemi means half. Reason is, but in the case of male, there are some genes present on the X chromosome which have no information on the counterpart homologous chromosome, that is Y chromosome. So there are no genes which are homologous genes which are present on the Y chromosome. So whatever is the information on the X chromosome, whether it is dominant form of information or whether it is the recessive form of information, it is going to show its effect. Reason there is nothing present on the Y chromosome. Such a situation is called as hemizygous situation. So Morgan performed this experiment. Now because this is homozygous situation, so the only type of gamete possible is YW out of these. Now only type of gamete possible, two types of gametes are possible here, YW, and that YW will be on the X chromosome and nothing will be present on the Y chromosome. So when crossing occurs, only two types of individuals are possible. Either they are going to be females and they are going to be heterozygous because this combination, heterozygous female, wild type, or hemizygous mutant type males are formed. Now in the next generation, what we expect according to the law of independent assortment, you remember independent assortment tells us that 1 by 4 capital Y capital R, 1 by 4 capital Y and small r, 1 by 4 small y and small r, and 1 by 4 small y and small r. We expect this ratio. So let's keep this thing in our mind that we